What's up, everybody? This is Whiskey in the Six. I'm Rob. I have a long-awaited video review for you. Glengoyne 25-year-old. I'm gonna have you look at some of the craftsmanship on this bottle. You can see the glass work with the geese at the back. All right, it's a very, very nice bottle. Okay. The box is incredible. Slides out. There's a magnet at the top to hold the neck in place. Very, very cool. Okay. Two people I want to thank before I continue with this video. First off, the person that bought me this bottle and sent it to me from Alberta, Chris Q. He's a gentleman, fantastic guy. He has an Instagram channel of his own. It's called Single Malt Whiskey. Whiskey spelled the American way, not the Canadian way or the British way. He's posting some crazy stuff. He's buying some really, really high-end scotch. I highly recommend you check him out. Very, very cool guy. The other guy is also named Chris. He brought me a sample of Bunnahabhain 25-year-old, and I got to try it at the Macallan event that Praxis PR put together. This was about a month back now. A little less maybe. Very, very cool guy. He tracked me down inside the event, and he was very grateful that I was able to provide my subscribers with the opportunity to go to the Macallan event. So because of that, he brought me that 25-year-old Bunnahabhain. Totally not necessary, but much appreciated. So thank you, Chris, as well. I'm gonna ask him if it's okay to share his Instagram, and I'll share that in the next video because he has a really cool collection of scotch as well. Alright? That being said, on to the Glengoyne 25-year-old. Bottled at 48%. It is 100% natural color. Okay? It doesn't say anywhere on the bottle that it's unchill filtered, but I've read multiple places that it is, so I'm kind of unsure. I wasn't able to get a hold of anybody from the distillery to iron that out, but I'm gonna say no, because when I drink this side by side with, for example, a Glendronach 18-year-old, the Glendronach 18-year-old does taste on the palate or have that weightier texture anyway. So I'm gonna say no. It is chill filtered, but there's a possibility that it might be non-chill filtered because of what I've read from various reviews and sites. But it is 100% natural color, and to get that color is a beautiful thing. This is exclusively aged in sherry casks, first fill, and I believe they're also from Jerez, Spain, which is similar to Macallan in a lot of ways, which is why a lot of people call Glengoyne the copycat or the mimic. It's fine with me. They create a wicked product. It's in a lot of ways challenging the Macallan product. So I highly recommend, if you haven't already, go out and grab the 12-year-old to start. Fantastic dram. This one we're going to taste and smell without water, and then add some water to it as well. Okay, so on the nose, it's been sitting in here for about 25 minutes now, and I highly recommend that you do let it sit in the glass to breathe for 25 minutes. It does make a difference. Okay, it will change it drastically, and then the water also helps it open up as well. So we'll talk about why in a sec. Okay, a lot of dark fruit. You get a lot of raisin. Okay, there's like a strong cinnamon hearts type smell, like that spiciness and that heat you get from the smell of a cinnamon, like something that's heavily cinnamon. Okay, there's a strong amount of oak as well. But you don't pick up the smoke quite as much as you will once you add a drop of water. but there is smoke in this. You do get some smoke. Very sweet smelling, but not overly sweet smelling. Get some bitter notes as well. Some oranges. You get a similar smell to what you get from when you first open a bag of espresso beans without them being ground. Not quite as strong, obviously, on the coffee notes as that, but a similar smell to that. Also, a little bit of leather. Okay, on the palate. This is the perfect after dinner dram. It does have an alcohol kick to it, which is surprising because it's 25 years old and it's 48%. I've had stronger whiskey that doesn't taste as sharp on the tongue as this one does, but to a lot of people that's music to their ears. This is a nice strength, okay? For those of you that like your bourbons at a high alcohol strength, this is the Scotch for you, I promise. You'll absolutely love it. It has a lot of similar bourbon notes. It's that smoky strength. It's sweet, but it's not overly sweet, okay? It does pick up some sweetness as you add the water. But I'm gonna take one more sip because I didn't really tell you what it tastes like. So we'll go from there. Okay, some bitter orange, dark chocolate, coffee notes, like the finish on an espresso. If you've just had an espresso, I take my espresso black. I don't add any sugar. I don't add any foam or cream or anything like that. So the finish to my espresso tastes very similar to the finish to that. I apologize for the noise upstairs. That's my son. Really, really good stuff. And if you're into Scotch that's not overly sweet, but you would still like that smoothness, but still that alcohol kick. I can't really explain it. It could still be smooth, but still have an intensity of alcohol. And it's kind of weird, but those of you that have had older Scotch kind of know what I'm talking about. And this continues to evolve as you drink it. It's a slow drinking type whiskey. You don't want to rush it all in one or two sips. You want to have it over an elongated period of time. A lot of ripe fruit, some raisin in here, okay? On the palate, you do get, like I said, dark chocolate and a little bit of raisin, some bitter orange, that sort of thing, but it definitely changes with some water. This is my little whiskey pourer. It came with my Glencairn glasses. It is, I guess, a Glencairn product as well. Just a little bit of water, you don't need much. Okay. The color, I mean, there was a little Scotch mist or cloudiness to it when I added water, so I'm wondering if this is non-chill filtered. If you know for sure, this one was bottled in 2016, it looks like. Perhaps 2012, I don't know, I can't really, it's not very clear at the back here. But if you know, then let me know, because I'm not 100% sure. Much sweeter on the nose with the water. The chocolate, the dark chocolate kind of turns to a light chocolate, brown chocolate. Maybe if it's dark chocolate, we're talking closer to like a 50-60% as opposed to like a 70-75% that it was before. Okay, a lot more fruit now. Actually, you pick up a caramel note and a maple syrup note. Okay, maybe that's because I'm Canadian. I'm picking up that maple syrup note, but I do get that after you've added some water. It's a lot sweeter on the nose now. So with that water, it's actually more buttery. It's sweeter, more on orange, a little bit of caramel, like a burnt brown sugar, but still not overly sweet. It's still not like a Glendronach sweet. If you're a big sweet tooth guy, I highly recommend you lean towards a Glendronach 21-year-old. That one's almost borderline too sweet. But for you rum lovers and cognac lovers, that's probably the one that you want to stick to. This one is more for the experienced Scotch drinker, in my opinion. It's still got sweetness to it, but it's not as sweet as a Glendronach, in my opinion. You get that oak spice now. Cinnamon is very prevalent here. That water makes it less abusive on the tongue, which is important, because too much of this on its own, you tend to risk getting that numb tongue feeling. Whereas with that drop of water, it kind of mellows it out, makes it a little bit more buttery, which is a good thing. The texture actually increases, which should do the opposite, but for whatever reason, the texture actually gets a little thicker when you add some water, and it's lighter. You can hold it on your tongue a little bit longer. So I do recommend that you add some water. I'm gonna give a grade to both. So without water, okay, so it's an A for me no matter what, whether you add water or you don't. But the way I judge, I would say an A is anything 85 to 89, all right? I've never given anything a 90 yet, because that would be an A+. So an 89, I'm going to explain that further on my Whiskey of the Year, but there's a whole bunch of whiskeys that I've given an A, and they vary from 85 to 89, like I said. I would say this is closer to an 86 when you're drinking it straight, okay, which is a very good mark for me. I mark differently than other people, so you can't really go by what that mark being. You know, that's why I just give letter grades. But with the water, it brings it up to an 88.5, close to an 89. I've only, in my head, given a couple an 89, and I'm going to explain that in my Whiskey of the Year. Okay, so that's an A for me. Fantastic stuff. I highly recommend it. It's one of the better 25-year-old whiskeys I've tried. 25-year-old whiskeys tend to disappoint me because they have so much prestige behind them, they have so much hype behind them, and then they almost always fail to meet those requirements for me. But this one definitely meets them. If not, it surpasses them. So I lean towards 18-year-old Scotch for some reason. I'm not 100% sure why, but this 25-year-old will not disappoint. It's fantastic stuff. I'm curious because eventually, hopefully, I get into the 30, 35, and 40-year-old Scotch, and I'm curious to see what happens when we're going up that high, okay? But for me, that's a solid A. Fantastic stuff. Stay tuned. Next week, Friday, I'll be doing Downmore 18-year-old. And then, depending on how much time we have, I might do one of the Canadian whiskeys, possibly the Wayne Gretzky 99. We'll see. If I don't have time, then I'll just get right into my whiskey of the year, and I'm gonna count backwards from 5. So it's gonna be my top 5 of the year, okay? And I'm not giving any spoilers away, but if you've been paying attention to my last 86 videos, because I believe this is video number 86, then you'll have an idea of what will be on that top 5 list. Okay, guys? Thank you very much. If you like this video and it's a first time for you, subscribe below. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter. On Instagram, I'm at Whiskey in the Six, just like that. On Twitter, I'm at Whiskey_in_the_6. And on Facebook, I'm under Rob Reviews. So you can add me and I'll be your friend. That's totally up to you guys. All right? Thanks for watching. Cheers.